Good morning, everyone. Hello, Sharon. I can see you here. Is Nat joined us yet?
She has not. She will be on in just a minute.
Okay. Good morning. Good afternoon, everyone. If you're here with us live, if you want to say hello in the chat box, I'd love also to know what part of the world you're joining us from. Some of you I know really well from all these years we've been connecting, but some of you are newer to me. So I'd love for you all, though, to say hello and good morning or afternoon, wherever you're joining us from. And then I'd love for you to just drop in for me this morning, or again, afternoon, wherever you're joining us from. I'd just love to know something that's new and good. What's something new and good that's taking place in your life or something you're feeling grateful for? I'm so excited to be back here with you guys today. And hopefully you guys are just having a beautiful, beautiful February and good things that are taking place and happening. I'm looking forward to connecting with you. All right, we have Annie from California. Hi, Christina from Oakland. Our girl Florence is here from Washington State. Hi, Tracy from Missouri. Our girl Shelly's here too. And you guys, speaking of our girl, we have a special session for you today. It's like we're coming back. We're going retro and vintage, and the Tiff and Natalie show is here today. I'm so excited. Our friend and dear one,
Mm.
our dear heart, Miss Natalie Goddard, is
Oh,
joining us today. And Mr. Andy Goddard is apparently traveling to
he
Australia.
is in Australia. He's on the ground. They're having some joy there.
Oh,
Just
good.
did Blue Diamond Presidential the past couple days, and today's a Diamond Day, and they are anyway, good things going happening down under for
Mm.
sure. And
It's,
it feels so good. It is a blast from the past to
I
be here
know.
with you.
It's like, welcome back to your own call. Welcome back to your own session. We're so glad that you're here. Y'all, this
Hmm.
started like 10 plus years ago. Natalie and I would do this session every week, and then we started incorporating Andy. And then Natalie was like, you guys just run with this. You guys are having a great
You guys
time.
are better than I am. I love it that he had a space and you guys just have so much fun together and
Mm,
create so much value. So, so
mhm.
grateful. And oh, Tiff, I bet you have stuff on your heart, but as we had one child having school pictures today, makeup
Oh,
pictures. I was like, oh, what's going on here?
mm,
Why are we at meltdown? Like, and it was such a good exercise for me this morning to just say, okay, all that matters is energy.
mm,
And everything else, you know, whatever we can do to maintain that energy, support that energy, listen to those emotions that are coming up, address them, get get that plant medicine going to support our bodies through it. But as I just come from that little rocky road, I'm reminded how critical it is to just, if we have energy drains, how are you going to close that up?
mhm,
If we have these waves coming at us, okay, I see
mhm,
it. I see it. What is it that my body's asking for? My spirit, my mind is asking for? And how can I get that on me and me around me?
mm.
So things are rolling. So
Yeah.
we
Oh,
had a
me.
successful liftoff, but it was a little dicey there for a minute.
So you mean you're human too, then? Like your kids
Oh,
still have meltdowns, even when you're Natalie Goddard, you still have children that have meltdowns. So good to know that you're real,
hey,
right? And the
I
humanness of that.
so real. I think we're all feeling the reality of that as we enter third spring here in Utah.
Yes. Here we go. Well, I will tell you this, and I do want you to be thinking about. Christina put a great question in the chat box where she
Mm.
says, how do you help your kids through those meltdowns, best oils and statements? So while you're thinking about that,
Mhm.
yesterday I went on this beautiful long walk. I'm a big believer of daily movement of some kind, right? Of move my body every day. Some of you know that's right here in my office, and it's a declaration. I move my body every day, right? And now it's become just the habit. And sometimes that's a longer workout, a full sweat session, a workout, lifting weights, going to yoga. And sometimes it's a short walk. Sometimes it's a longer walk. Yesterday was about a 40-minute morning walk, and just really connecting with Mother Earth and with God, and with just gratitude and nourishing thoughts. And you guys, as I came around this particular corner in my area of where I live, in my neighborhood, right, coming up from the ground is, of course, they're not bloomed yet, but the beginning shoots of what will be crocuses and daffodils and tulips are just barely starting to come through the earth. And I just smiled at that, and just was thinking about the belief and the knowing of new seasons, right? And new life and new beginnings. I love all seasons because everything serves. I think that's worth writing down / considering. Everything serves. Like, even if some of you, winter might be your very favorite season. Some of you live in climates where you pretty much have the same climate all year round. Some of us, like here in Utah, where Natalie and I are based, we have very distinct seasons, but everything serves its purpose. And so, loves, as we think about this, in different emotions and different experiences of life, and just knowing and trusting, though, that the new life and the new season, that to everything there is a season and a purpose, and everything serves, including what we might label a negative emotion, right? What we might label a negative emotion, or stress, or angst, or frustration, or in this case this morning, a meltdown, and the power of just learning and how to understand that. So I'd love, Miss Natalie, if you want to elaborate to that. What are the oils you love that support you or your children, your kids, or your teens as they're navigating their different emotions and or statements?
I love it, because in the moment of that meltdown, right? In the eye of the storm, in the middle of it all, it's like, I was just in my bathroom. She comes in my bathroom, and I'm like, okay, grabbing the oils that are right there. And I love that it doesn't even have to be, I feel like it's the perfect oil in that moment. And what Tiffany is saying about looking at whatever it is coming up. My first inclination was, we don't have time for this. and to try and get her to move past it. And as I stepped into that, okay, I can get oils on and we don't have to go there. It was like, we go there, or this emotion keeps taking her for a ride all day, right?
Mm-hmm.
So seeing those emotions as our guides, as these guideposts through life. And what I did was, I first reached for the copaiba, because I was like, she's feeling pain. How can we ease that right now so that she can actually experience the emotion and move through it? So copaiba is the oil of unveiling. So, some of that emotion coming up so that we can get to the heart of the matter. And then I grabbed birch, the oil of support, and just got it across her shoulders. And it was all about what she was saying. I don't know if I can do this for another 1.5 years. I don't know, whatever she was processing, I was just grabbing. And then one of my very favorites is Douglas fir. It seems like that's an emotional go-to. I wonder if we have emotional go-tos in our, we get those oils that are our emotional go-tos with our unique setup. But for my family, somehow Douglas fir seems to be the emotional go-to, and it is the oil of generational wisdom. And I think so many of these moments in life, that it feels more than we can navigate. That's when we have help beyond what we can see. And so as I was praying with her this morning, it was so sweet to remember that my mom's right right there beside her. And when she leaves my watch, those angels are just attending her, those that have gone before her. And maybe that's why I love this oil so much. So
Mm.
we are perfectly supported is one of the phrases that I use a lot. You are perfectly supported. How are you perfectly supported? Tell me, who loves you?
Mhm.
Coming back. And most of the time it's gotta be them saying it and feeling it. But when we're in this cycle or this journey or the tailspin, so grateful for the plant medicine just coming in and interrupting that and being a catalyst to take us somewhere different, to help us learn from that emotion, experience it, and release it so we can move to higher ways.
Mm.
Mm.
I love this. And I love you know what? Do we not just love this woman's pure heart? Like, I just adore you, sister. And so good to see
Mhm.
you. And how many years have we been saying this statement? I am perfectly supported. You are
Oh,
perfectly supported. And just reminding ourselves, and what I love about that's a great anchor statement. And what I
mhm.
love for all of you, because some of you you're asking, again in the chat, you're asking, how do we support our children? What about your children? Jennifer says, do your kids use love oils as much as you do? I've seen teens think that they're woo-woo and, but they could so be helped with these support tools. I think
Mhm.
the great thing is parents and friends and aunties and uncles, whatever of the, children that are in your scope of influence is you modeling it, right? Is
Mhm.
regularly your kids see you use these tools and that you anchor that and they see, oh, wow, how powerful that is and offering it and sharing it, as we're diffusing it. I just love though, and you were mentioning just for those that might be just joining us, I think we're finally connected to Facebook. Hi, Facebook friends. As we're talking about essential emotions that come up, oils to use for that. But you were just talking about the oil of generational wisdom is Douglas fir, correct?
Yes.
Okay. How powerful is that? Is for me, often I go to myself, often when my emotions are fluctuating or I'm feeling unsettled or stuff is up, the mental storm, whatever might be happening energetically or emotionally, I'm naturally always drawn to a woods oil,
Yeah.
right? Like our go-to balance. I love the OG, but
Mhm.
Douglas fir and how do we pronounce the new forest blend? Shinrokyo. How do you say that?
Inren Yoku.
Thank
It's
you.
it's funky, but it is my current favorite oil. I'm with you, Tiff.
Yeah. But it's just coming to that. And so I think one thing as we drop in, if you guys have questions for us today or things that are up for you, feel free to
Mhm.
put those in the chat box or if any of you want to join us live. But Natalie, if you'd just give us an update, it's been a hot minute since we've seen you here.
Yeah.
Is what have you been up to? What are you thinking? What's part of your vision? I know you just got back from, was it Jamaica?
We went to the Caribbean with doTERRA. So I bet you've heard from Andy, but I'll give you my take because you know how we live these parallel lives and we're there and men are having this experience and I'm having this experience. I'm like, wow, okay, we were kind of on the same journey together, but it's been amazing. And so I'd love to share with you a couple of the things that have really stood out to me in this last really 2 months. Like we went to Thailand for a month and I'm still into drinking coconuts in
There
the
we
morning.
go.
I I I just want you to know that you can feel tropical if you need to. You can claim that tropical.
Mm,
It's right around you. You're perfectly supported, right? And I had an amazing just reset there for me in my health, in my mental health, and my emotional health. It was really needed. And so that was an incredible gift. I just went on a cleanse, coconut water and passion fruit. Basically, that was my diet from day to day. And it was so renewing and so fulfilling. So I just want to put in a plug for the pattern interrupts in our lives. So whatever that is for you, come back to it, because there's some magic in those pattern interrupts. It was an incredible gift for me and brought all of this breakthrough for our family. And so I know that those pattern interrupts don't have to be on the other side of the world. They can be driving to grandma's house. They can be doing something different than you normally do. Whatever it is to create a pattern interrupt, I feel like that allows us to get out of this neural programming, whatever it is for us, and create something new. And so we were able to create something new that we were really hoping for and needing for a couple of our kids. And that was the greatest gift from that trip. And we also came to know some amazing new builders. Like, it was our intention to connect with amazing new builders. And I'm sure Andy shared with you more of that. So all of that new developments, because we got uncomfortable and got out of our box and did the pattern interrupt. I remember even one weekend I was like, oh, Andy, guess what? This feels like a vacation. I've done a few things. I'm getting close to satiated. I think I'm just gonna fly home. Like, can we just be done in a few more days when everybody else goes home? And he was like, I plan on getting bored here. My intention is a total reset. And he was just super clear about that. So if you want to fly home, that's fine, but I'm going to be here. And I'm like, oh, my ADHD tendencies and needing to do it, just all like him staying and us staying and choosing to stay in that pattern interrupt or do things differently a little bit longer helped me find some new peace, some new joy, some new awareness that I just really needed to come to. And so I went gluten-free. I lost 10 pounds. I feel amazing health-wise and so clear about what we want to create. So find that pattern interrupt, right? And then we got home. We'd been with our kids that whole time nonstop. We got home, we had a week, and then we went on the doTERRA cruise. And that was just amazing to have that time together. And this is one thing that I have learned is, as we show up for our family or show up for life, a lot of times those closest relationships, those dearest relationships don't get the attention that they deserve. And so I love I call the incentive trip and the presidential trip, like, those are our two couples trips a year, and they're pre-planned for us. And we get to be with some of our favorite people on those. So it was so renewing and so amazing. We were at a different beach every other day and just soaked in a little bit more sun.
I love that. And I love one of the key gems you just shared there for all of us to take away or to look at as you're talking about the willingness to stretch outside our comfort zone or what's familiar to us, and being willing to look at and the stretch and the growth of that, and looking and whether we travel someplace new like you did, or we just choose within our own homes to, shake up some habits and make some new decisions, we have the power to change our lives literally in instantaneous moments, right? Is making some of those new decisions of what habits or what thought patterns or what organization or whatever we're up to, we're thinking about. These are some new changes or things I'm wanting to see happen. And the willingness to stretch outside what we might call that comfort zone, what's familiar to us, of where the magic lies, right? Like, everything has been said, everything you want is just outside your comfort zone. And so that willingness to stretch and willingness to grow, as you guys each individually think about that, invite you to look at those questions, is asking, where is it I want to see? What do I want to see happen? And what are some new ways of doing that? Because sometimes we just get in our familiar ways, right? Like the way that we woke up today and maybe got ready and brushed our teeth or got showered, or the way we drive to an office or work, or we tend as humans to get in these real routines. And some of those routines that you're currently in, loves, are really supporting you. And some of the routines you might be in, or habits you might be in, like, oh, I'm looking at my phone first thing, or I'm, too much time here, or I'm just doing the same old, they might be holding you back. And we might want to look at new habits, new routines of what are some new things I'm willing to try and to lean into that can help me, create the outcomes that I want, right? Coming back to growing your business, we know at the heartbeat of all of you, it's kind of creating connection, right? Growing your businesses comes from connection. You might say, gosh, this month, the next week or two, or next few weeks or months, I'm going to really focus on, I'm going to have 2 days a week where I go to, lunch with someone, or I'm connecting out in my community, or I'm going to have a make and take, or a gathering at my home, or I'm going to try some new content on social media, or various things might be that you're willing to try new things, new habits, new routines that help stretch you of expanding, right? Of the things like, oh, because all of us are already doing our comfort zone. And if we want change in our life, we have to do more of the thing we're doing, or we have to create a new thing that we're doing, right? Trying on new things or learning something new. It's just powerful that we might be thinking about that. So thank you for modeling that as, hey, let's create a disruption and take the family to Thailand, and spend this time, and let's make this new thing happen. But also the expansion of builders, opportunities, new way of life living, and things like that. But it's just the willingness. What the difference isn't whether you get on the airplane or not, is mentally, where are you going? Asking yourself mentally, where am I going? Which is a question, Natalie, I'd love for you to look at or share with us. Like, what's part of as you think about your vision for the next 3 to 6 months to the next year, thinking about your vision, right? The power of vision is, this is where all adventure, all change begins. Again, in the power of our mind, is where am I going? And what am I creating? I'd like you all to be thinking about that. But Nat, do you want to elaborate to thinking about some of your vision for this season of your life, for you, your business, your home, yourself?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, I had a friend send me the synopsis of the 4 agreements and the 5th agreement, and I was just going back to I want more love, joy, peace, and connection in my life. And I love the book I'm reading right now. It's the Arthur Brooks and Oprah Winfrey, How Will You Build Your Life? Something like that. And it just helped me take a step back, right? Even when we think we're on target, taking that step back to get a perspective. And then, like you were saying, Tiffany, that, for me, it was more comfortable for me to get on a plane. I could do that part, right? But then once I was there 5 days, that's when I was like, I don't know if I can continue this, right? And that's when the real invitation came. Okay, will you drop in to your vision and get clear on what you really want? And it's amazing the things that begin to change. So we did meditation, and we started praying for some things as they got clear. And the 2 things that we were really praying for our children, opened up and their lives progressed. And then we knew, we need different support. We had a virtual assistant, like virtual assistants that were there and available, but we didn't have a physical assistant. And so we had someone that was here 3 days a week, and it was not supporting us the best. So we began to identify things like that. Oh, I need to up level that support. And so as we did, we had someone reach out to us even while we were there. A few days after we did that meditation, visualization, getting clear about it, and that started rolling in place so that could come into place right as we returned. And I watch as other things are being eliminated from my life, right? Because of that clarity. And boy, it's so worth it. I'm on a big kick right now. Like, how often can we get a pattern interrupt and get clear on what we really, really desire, so that we're not just going through the motions in our life, right?
Mm-hmm. So good. So true, love. And you mentioned a book that I just put in the chat box here, but The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. Have you all read that book? How many of you have read that book? If you have, would you say yes in the chat box?
Mm.
Oh, it's such a classic. We mentioned this the first of the year. I mentioned there's around 5 or so books I reread or listen to on Audible every year. There's a handful that are part of that top 5 list. The first 2 we've talked about, we've been reading as a group. We read The Atomic Habits in January, or focused on that. Essentialism here for February, which Natalie, you introduced me to that material. But definitely The Four Agreements is in my own personal top 5. It's so powerful. I know many of you have said yes, or like Joel, I read that every year. Yes, or been wanting to read that again. Yes, Natalie, thank you for putting that back on my radar. And the intention of The Four Agreements, as many of you know, because you've read it, I know if some of you are saying no, but you're wanting to, is just really powerful, like life constitution work, right? Like, we're going to guide my life by some of these core principles and how powerful that is. Remind me what the 5th agreement's about, because I've not read that. You mentioned that.
I was gonna even just read this sweet synopsis from my friend. It was incredible. I was like, it came right at the time that I needed. And of course, that's just what is needed. Let's see. Where is that?
Yes, he has another book, and I haven't read this one, but what she's referencing, The Fifth Agreement, also by the same author, Don Miguel Ruiz. But you guys, that's one of those books I can wholeheartedly, The Four Agreements. He has another book I've read in his lineup called The Mastery of Love. Wow, you want to talk about an expander about the way we see love and relationships with ourselves, with others. That's a great work of his as well. But it's just so grounded in true principles. And I love in The Four Agreements, right? It talks about, not making assumptions and always doing your best and communicating with, using your word with impeccability. And then one of my favorites of The Four Agreements, right, is not to take anything personally. How many of you, can we just have some honest talk? How many of you create emotional suffering for yourselves often, maybe even every day, because we're tempted to take things personally? How many of you, that's again, these are the four agreements, is speak with impeccability, don't take anything personally, don't make assumptions, right? We also, how often do we create grief for ourselves by making assumptions versus talking through things? Yeah. And then always doing our best. And that's why, again, that's the core of the four agreements. But how often I create my own emotional turmoil because everything gets taken so personally, right? I'm easily, and this is something I'm communicating with God right now in the season of Lent, is working on releasing the need to be, quote, taking things sensitively or of being offended easily, right? As how easily we take things personally. Shots fired, Tiff, says Marie. Yes. Or Jennifer, I do it to my daily, or yes, sniff. It's just, but can we have grace for ourselves? I love we're having this open dialogue that we look at that and utilizing some of the oils. There are certain oils I gravitate to emotionally, like geranium, like bergamot, different healers that support my own heart, because how easy it is for us to latch onto some of those things. We make assumptions about others or situations. We drop into taking everything personally. Someone said this or didn't say this or this thing or that thing. How easily, like even Natalie, this morning, you could have easily, your child's meltdown, been like, gosh, maybe did I drop the ball, or am I with this? Or if I was a better mom, then maybe this wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
And it's just not true. But how easily we're creating, Jennifer, it's like you're in my brain right now. How often we're creating our own pain because
Mhm.
we're choosing to take things so personally, or we're making assumptions about things. So I love you brought this work into our remembrance, because man, it's a potent one of really looking at those patterns of how easy it is to think the thought, then
Mm,
feel the feelings, loop the same thing again and
Totally.
again.
Totally. And I love that we have this gift and awareness, these great gems, right? Brought into our awareness so we can just avoid some of those pitfalls, hopefully learn with time. So this is what my friend says. I re-listened to the 4 agreements, and now I'm re-listening to the 5th agreement. Here's some of my takeaways and learning so far from the 5th agreement. Okay, so Tiff gave you the 4 agreements, just the high level there. But here's the 5th agreement highlights. The 3 great masteries of Earth Life School are awareness, transformation, and love. And she has next to it, love is intent or faith. When we master these, we guide ourselves out of suffering and back to our true nature and reclaim our divinity. Suffering is felt when we hold on to pain. Usually it's because the pain or injury or trauma gives us an excuse to stay stuck. It grants us the escape of hitting pause on needing to be accountable for everything in our world.
Mm.
It also pauses our growth and need to stretch. Eventually, our soul becomes restless in stagnation.
Mm.
We're hardwired to evolve and move forward. That's what we came here for, right? For progress. To experience joy and to learn and grow, we can anchor back to our true nature of happiness, freedom, and love. And that's the part that really resonated with me, was like, bring it on back. What are we meant for? If I come back to that, then I can see anything that's taking me away from happiness, freedom, and love.
Mm.
Identify it.
Mm-hmm. It's so true. And again, you guys, we practice these tools. And that's also what I love so very much about your work, specifically going deep with the emotions and essential emotions, is we all do these things and feel these feelings at various times and to various intensities, right? From self-doubt or sadness or judgment or disconnect, or all the various things like we're talking about, taking things personally. But we practice, right? Can we all just come home to we're progress oriented,
Mhm.
right? You've heard us say that many times, the not perfect, but progress that we focus on, to be progress oriented. And progress, how we make progress is through practices,
Mhm.
right? That we practice these tools. And so right now, I just invite each of you to drop in and let's model this in lifetime. Maybe one hand if you're not driving, and one hand on your heart, one hand on your sacral or on your belly. And just, if you can, close your eyes and just tune in and ask yourself, right? Ask yourself, what do you need, sweetheart? That's an inquiry question, of tuning in. What do you need, sweetheart? Take a deep breath. Exhale. Yeah, just drop into whatever might be coming up for you. And then let's use some of our tools in this moment. If you want to get out your essential emotions book, great. If you just intuitively ask, what oils am I feeling drawn to, that you either want to diffuse or put on your skin, or take, whatever that you want to access, like what's coming up for you. I'm just curious. Join us in lifetime. And if you would put that in the comments in Facebook or here in the chat box on Zoom, would love for you to share. What are you intuitively feeling drawn to? If you just give yourself space to catch a breath, drop in and tune in, what are you needing right now? Or what are you feeling drawn to? And it might be a lemon or an orange, a citrus. It might be that, you might be feeling drawn to the Douglas fir or the balance or the certain oils or whatever might be coming up for you. But ask yourself, you're your own best tuning agent. What do you need, sweetheart? What do you need? What would help serve or support you? Yeah, cheer and anchor, rose, absolutely. Geranium. Yeah, I utilize geranium. It's a potent oil, so a little goes a long way, literally like one drop, but I'll often put a drop on my heart or similar. I diffuse it a lot. I've been diffusing green mandarin with geranium, sometimes with a little orange and lemon too. And it's just really high vibe, happy in that way. Of course, the oil of elevation, which I have a bottle of that and we drop into that. But just asking yourself, whatever you need. Haley is saying bathing in bergamot and rose. Yeah. Balance and adaptive. Honor that, Melissa, for sure. Guacwood, magnolia, Risa. Yes. Yes, yes. It's just getting these oils. We have these tools that put them in your diffusers, put them on your body as you feel directed and guided, right? And so you go, oh, okay, whatever's up for you. Like Jillian saying, I've been doing a cleanse and having different anger emotions coming out. And that's what spoke to me. Yeah. Clary Sage, I'm with you, Sharon, or Veronica saying that. Clary Sage, I put Clary Sage on last night. It's just honoring whatever is up for you guys. Yeah, what you're feeling and trusting that and utilizing these tools. But coming home to like what Natalie modeled for you really early out of our session today, and we can drop into a few others, is she gave you an anchor statement that she was using with her teen that was having a bit of a meltdown. As an anchor statement is, we might sometimes also call those affirmations. We might also call them truth statements, right? Because sometimes our feelings and truth are not always aligned. But an affirmation or an anchor statement she gave you is, I am perfectly supported. I am always supported. You are always supported. Other anchor statements might be, life is working in my favor. God or universe has my back. Things are working out for me. I have great purpose over my life. That's what I mean by a true statement. Sometimes you might be feeling really insignificant or, what does it even matter? Or I'm not a big deal, or I'm not this, I'm not that. You might have doubts that are up. It's okay to have those feelings, but the truth is you have great purpose on your life. If you're still alive, there's still great purpose for you. And so it's coming home to some of those anchor statements. God has my back. Everything is working together for my good. Life is working in my favor. I am perfectly supported. I am loved. I am chosen. I am, again, I am statements or anchor statements. Do you have, anyone else have certain affirmations or anchor statements? But these are potent ones to get into writing, to see them frequently, to verbally state them again and again, where it's literally like you are anchoring them into your body, into your soul, into your mind. Like Natalie doesn't have to remind herself any longer. She's been working with that for 10 plus years, that affirmation anchor statement of, I am perfectly supported. And there's been many moments in those 10 years she has not felt that emotion, or she's felt wobbly, or she's felt uncertain, or deadlines or things, are they going to come together? I am perfectly supported has been like a lighthouse for you. So having your lighthouses, yes, I love Tracy, that one. I am a child of God, or I am a son or daughter of the divine. I am supported, are these different things that you guys go, yes, I love that, Shelley. I'm exactly where I should be. And just having those things that can help support you. But thank you in live time. I think it's one thing when we talk about these things conceptually, but rather tuning in and let's live the work ourselves, right? Like, what do you need, sweetheart? As you all know, that's one of my favorite tune-in questions, is asking yourself, or what am I drawn to? Is sometimes we're just so busy, or we're up in our mind in a lot of mind chatter, versus taking some time to go, what do I need? What would support me? Natalie, anything you want to add to that as we're talking about these tools and these insights?
I love it. I think that is what you've said, Tiffany, is right on. There's a little bit more that she said about the fifth agreement that I want you to hear. Happiness, freedom, and love are who we are on the inside. That's what we're made of. We create our own reality, and when we create our own reality with awareness, we enjoy it. We are joyful. So, just like Tiffany was just saying, creating with awareness includes directing the chatter in our minds and being conscious of whose voice is on the microphone in our head, what the announcements spoken are saying. When the words running through our mind sound like statements that confirm our divinity, we're golden. When our speech to ourselves calls forward our happiness, freedom, and love, our soul is home in our human body. Anything else, we're like, wow, this doesn't feel like home. I'm foreign here, right? Our true, whole, complete, and worthy soul can fully and peacefully settle into our physical body because our human mind isn't barking out falsities that cause waves of dissonance. When we speak to ourselves as God would speak to himself, we feel peace. Our divine self speaks love to ourselves because we are love. And I think that for me is like, how much of my life did I spend forgetting that I am love and forgetting to honor me and speak to myself that way and make choices that align with that way. I am love, I am freedom, I'm joy. And I just am doing that 1% to get closer, to that every day.
Mhm.
I think the overwhelm for my daughter this morning was, I like to call it the 99%, or the 100% devil and the 1% principle. So she was like, it's got to be all this, and it has to be all that, and it has to be all that now, right? And she started spinning. But when we went to, okay, let's get this oil in here, let's get a pattern interrupt, let's get this catalyst sending a new message, then we could go to that 1%.
Mm.
What's working right now? How are you perfectly supported? Okay, you're feeling drawn to shift this. What's needed? And anytime I'm all the way over to the 100, I'm like, oh, warning sign, come back to my 1%, because we are love, freedom, joy. So it's just coming back to it with those little choices.
Mhm. So good. It's such a reminder. And again, I love the word practice, loves, is like we practice these tools because sometimes we can close I know for myself years ago, my former perfectionist self, anyone else a recovering perfectionist?
Yep.
Yeah, is that I thought, oh, once I've done all these coaching programs and studied with different humans and read all the books, I'm going to be perfectly healed of any of these like doubts or challenges or again triggers of being the self-doubt or again the taking things super personally. Oh, I'm going to be over all this, like, hey, check all the boxes, do all the study. And then I had this awareness come to me, Natalie, that that Mother Earth and nature just models so many beautiful lessons. And this thought came to me that the weeds always return, right?
Mm.
With or without our effort. We live on a planet, on an earth. The weeds do return, and not to be freaked out by them, right? The weeds return, we weed them, we have tools to do that. But my goal, or my intention, I should say, started to become that when I did get snagged, when I did have those negative thoughts pop back up, just like the weeds will in the earth, they will our own things in being human, is my intention became to close the loop faster. Like you're saying, moving from that 100% of that lie or those, that the temptations, the hooks, the believing, the judgments, the things that were coming up, is to close the loop faster back to truth.
Mm-hmm.
Close the loop faster back to those anchor statements. And so when we think about that, loves, then we turned it into an entire podcast show that got downloaded a ton, was The Weeds Always Return. You can find that show on my podcast, iTunes or Spotify. The Weeds Always Return. It's a few years ago. But knowing that and making that mindset shift was really important because, again, perfectionism, as we know, it's like that's not real. But we have tools and we have the North Star, we have the practices, principles, as you've mentioned, that we come home to again and again and again. And so for me, rather than having to never have those disruptions or challenges, because that's just not realistic, it's more so the intention is to close for me the loop faster. And again, a lot of that is like the welcoming, the accepting, right? Sometimes, like you modeled for us at the beginning, is when we try to resist, what we resist persists. We try to cover up, pretend it's not there versus addressing, welcoming the emotion, right? Welcoming the thing. Oh, I see you. And what I choose to believe is this.
Eliza Goddard.
Oh, hi, Eliza Goddard.
She's calling. Oh my goodness.
There we go. But anyone else have thoughts with that? Is yeah, it's like, oh, that awareness is we want to close the loop faster and realizing that you do have the weeds or we do have the things return, your negative thoughts, your patterns, and rather than get harsh on yourself, like earlier about 10 minutes ago when I said, how many of you know that you're creating your own emotional turmoil occasionally or often or frequently by taking things personally? Right. And I love Marie said, all right, Tiff, shots fired. Right. Or like, wow, Jennifer, you're right in my head right now. That we know that like, oh, these are temptations and we have those challenges and we have those experiences and that those thoughts and feelings do come up and we get the opportunity to practice. But rather than like, oh, dang, they're back, it's just more so like, oh, okay. All right. I see you. And we don't freak out again about the weeds. Right. Like I may not always love, there's times I like weeding, right? Like Shelley saying, I actually like to weed in real life. It's a nice, it's one of those meditative practices or can be. We're out weeding in the garden, our hands in the dirt, something so beautiful. But it's not like when I walk out the door and after all the snow melts, and I go out in my backyard and let's say it's May or it's June, it's July, and I see a new weed is popped back in. It's not like I go, oh my gosh, there's a weed here. It's like, oh, yeah, okay, here we go. The weeds returned, and I'm going to weed as well as proactively nourish what I choose to believe. And that might be the symbolic nature of the flowers, of the vegetables, the fruits, the things we want to see grow in our lives, right? Maybe literally in our gardens, but literally or symbolically into our lives is planting and nourishing those chosen beliefs. Like you are supported, life is working in your favor. You have great purpose on your life. What miracle are you going to see today? What opportunities? Many of you have purchased or been participating with me. I launched a journal last fall called My Creation Journal. And it's a hybrid of vision and gratitude on a daily basis of gratitude anchoring and then vision, anchoring as well and coming into that. Well, in the last little while, I've actually been doing my journal. You can do it any time of the day that you want, but I've been doing my journaling often at night. It's almost like it's a way of seeing in the evening, the different ways, the miracles of the day, the good things of the day, seeing God's hand in my life in that day, right? And just acknowledging it. Now you can do the journaling any time of the day that you want. That's another anchor practice, right? We talk about practices, gratitude journaling or visualization or meditation. I have a breath work app I'm really loving right now called Mastery, Mastry, Mastery. And you have different practices and tools in the toolbox, like the essential emotions, like the breath work, like the practicing that bring us back home to our anchors, to the fruits, to the roses or the daffodils or the tulips or the things we want to see get nourished. But it's just having a new mindset that when your negative emotions pop up or the old snags or the self-doubt, those weeds return rather than having a complete meltdown that, oh my gosh, it's back or I'm never going to be over this. No, I get to practice this. We get to practice this. It's so powerful. So anyway, just wanted to, as we've had such a rich session today, talking about these things is just recommit to taking better care of yourself and your own emotions in the next week, the next 24 hours by practicing and coming back to those tools and to close the loop faster, not out of any pressure, like it's got to be about speed, but just the awareness of, oh, wait, I've wandered again. I've drifted out of the lane, right? Like when you drive down the road and sometimes you might drift in and out and you go, oh, no, this is the lane I choose to be in. And we get to practice these things. Natalie, anything you want to wrap us up with here today? Final thought or quote or
I love the practice. And I think that, at least for me, I've done a lot of work in my mind and heart, and I felt like I was doing so good. And so to me, the 1% right now is in my body. And giving my body what it needs to get out some of those weeds that have been a little anchored in, right? So I've been using more tapping, and I'm loving Jo. I don't know if you've come to her yet, Tiff. We're gonna post, I posted her like monthly subscription link right there above, but I'm telling you, like, this experience has been golden for me because I'm moving my body with the intention of emotional release, and I'm having experiences to access more generational wisdom every time. So I have just had experiences where I'm feeling those supports. And so Sharon's gonna help us out and post that link for you guys to try that out on this Share Success call on the Share Success page. Okay. So I want you to have that experience. That's our gift to you. It's a little bit late Valentine's gift, but experience it for yourself. We'll add that link in there. It's tomorrow morning, Thursday morning, 9 a.m., 9 to 10:30. And it's incredible.
I love that. Sharon just put that in the chat box. Perfect. Sharon, we also shared that on the Facebook thread too, in the comments section for Share Success, just because that lives on Facebook too, and anyone can access that.
So for those of you that you're like, what's my 1% right now, right? Some of these thoughts, doing the work from that, great. And here's another gift. Mountain time. Yeah, that's mountain. So here's another gift to keep you going on that 1%. I love seeing and feeling how many of you are in the practice. You're doing the work, and it's all adding up. So, so grateful to be with you guys today and talk about the things of greatest worth, right?
So
everything works out in our business, in our life, when we're aligned with those things of greatest worth. And the right things are flowing to you all the time. Just come into alignment and they'll be flowing even faster and even more, right?
So good. We've all been richly nourished today and blessed. Thank you, Miss Natalie. Such a treat to be with you again, my sister.
Thank you, Tiff. Thanks for
space.
showing up. You lead this tribe, I'm telling you.
Well,
there's some amazing love and magic here, and you continue to bring it. I'm so grateful.
I love you big, sister. And y'all, P.S. Miss Natalie, if you didn't know this before we hop off, that she had a birthday on February the 9th. And so it's her birthday month. If y'all want to love up on her and share that with her and reach out to her. But what a blessing she is in my life and all of your lives. How much good this woman does on the planet and for others, both in the smallest of simplest things that are so impactful that you never get to see, to the big things on a huge stage. But this woman is an incredible embodiment of love and truth and goodness. And I've seen it firsthand for more than a decade. So Miss Natalie, such a joy to be on the path of life, of friendship and creation with you. And my loves, we're so grateful for each of you. Truly, each of you in this community truly, truly matter. And you have great purpose on your life. And we're so inspired to link arms with each of you and be about the goodness and the growth that is this community. So thank you for being here. Have a great rest of your day.
Yes, enjoy today. Next week, we're going to be at leadership. So no call next week. We're doing a live event on Wednesday all day. So we hope if you're at leadership, you're joining us for that. We're trying to record that so we can capture the goodness, because it's all coming together in amazing ways. So thank you.
All right, everyone. Much love.